Welcome to every film in the book. I guess we didn't mix this very well. It's Dune. I'm Steve.
I'm Danielle.
I'm a giant sandworm.
And this is every film in the book.
That's going to be so stupid, but it's probably going to turn out to be great. We're probably going to use it.
Oh, perfect.
All right.
No, I like that. Actually, I think
All right, everybody put some blood on their forehead. Let's go to war. If I wanted to go to war, it better be...
yeah, get a little blood. Get yourself fresh.
Did you see all the people they had on those stones to drain them?
Jesus.
All CGI people.
No. A lot of murder took place on the set of Dune.
Yeah. Well, they had to make it realistic.
Mm.
This is a very realistic movie there.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually do have a funny story to kind of get us started about this movie.
Okay.
So when I was a kid, yeah, that was the funny part.
Yeah.
Dang, that one got me.
So when I was a kid, the movie Doom came out.
DOOM.
With the Rock.
With the Rock.
That's
So-
the worst movie ever.
I know, but me and my brother, we wanted to see it because we were like, oh my God, it's a video game movie. Video game movies have to be great. So we told my parents, and they went out to Blockbuster because they were renting something, and they came back, but they came back with Dune, like the original Dune. And we were like, no, we said Doom, not Dune. And then like my parents were even like, yeah, we thought it was weird that you guys randomly wanted to watch this. Like, we didn't even know how you found out about this movie.
This is a classic.
How did
from
you
a
find out
book
about
series.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I never ended up watching the original, but like now I'm kind of wondering, I'm like, should I go back? Like, is it worth it? Like, have you seen the
Yeah.
original as well?
Excuse me. Yes.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I saw the original. It was years ago, but the original, because of the technology of the day, is still considered, like, when people that do visual effects look at this movie from the 80s,
Yeah.
they go, holy crap, like, the amount of work that had to be done to get the effects that they had. So the shields are, like, vibrating and, like, CGI,
Right,
you know,
right.
and they're really well done. They were just like squares in the original,
like
but,
those like little polygons or something.
but they reflected. Yeah, it was literally polygons,
Mhm.
but they like reflected the environment. So they had to whatever they had to do, the technical aspect, it had to be gone through frame by frame,
Right.
in order to achieve
Jeez.
that look or whatever. So like back then, with the technology they had, it's considered
It was
by
probably
some
like-
to be like the building blocks
Yeah.
of what we see now.
Is that anything like Star Wars, perhaps?
No, it was
No, this had 50 storerooms of computers. Star Wars only had about 30.
right,
Gotcha.
right.
Gotcha. Okay.
But for as far as like the those big where the ship is most of the
Right.
frame, and then the people coming off, that was all done like at scale with miniatures.
Oh,
So
really?
there's one pretty famous photo where there's scaffolding where the camera is,
Mhm.
and then the people are like in a stadium.
Right.
Like they're filming it from like 600 feet
so
away.
it's like the freaking ship
Yeah.
is like all the way back there. And then,
Well, the ship was up front, and the people
'Cause
were all
it's
the way back
small.
there walking down a ramp. And the camera from way up there, it looks like
See,
they're
this
walking
is
down the
this is
ramp.
why movie magic works on people like me, because I'm like,
You're like,
what?
That's
What do you
crazy.
mean this ship's actually in front of a what?
Yeah, so it's pretty neat little history lesson of where we were to
So
how we got here.
I got it with the original. Was it the full thing? Like it wasn't like broken into two parts like this like remake is gonna be, or was it like
there was less effort in the story?
Oh, okay. So
They put a little more into this
they
one.
didn't like draw it out as much.
No.
Okay. Right.
Well,
Did
it
they
was a
show
movie in the
worms?
'80s, so it was drawn out. But
Oh yeah.
yeah,
But how did the worms look?
um,
Because this thing was freaking cool. Like
yeah,
it was like a sand pit.
No,
No.
These worms were cool. They didn't even have worms in the first one, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I don't want to insult anyone.
The worms were like half the movie.
Yeah, like they
It
had
wasn't-
such a big deal, and we barely got to see a worm.
Well, it's just part one, Steve,
I know.
Part 2, there's 3 times as many worms.
and it's 7 hours long.
There's 14 worms, and it's 7 hours long.
Oh, well, this was quite a doozy,
Yeah, how'd
That's
you like this one?
literally-
as Michael
Literally
put
how
it
I
before
coined
we
it.
watched it.
This is
Yeah.
gonna be a doozy.
Yeah, it was a little crazy. There was a lot of information being thrown at you right in the beginning, and to get acclimated to everything took a minute. And I was like, I think I just have to sit here and watch this because
Yeah.
And
I
that's-
would have gotten lost.
That's one of the reasons why I liked how they did this first one,
Right.
was because, like, hey, we're making another one, all right?
Mm.
In order to do the book justice at all, it should be like a 10-hour film.
Right.
So the way they're going about it, I don't mind. And then after you're done, you're like, oh, this was all set up. For
Yeah,
something.
and that's
Like,
kinda how I
this
felt
is-
at the end of
It's
this.
the introduction
Right.
to
there wasn't
the whole
like
world.
there was no big battle. There wasn't anything that felt very,
Yeah,
end
no.
all.
And like, I know you guys are gonna kick me, but it felt like the ending to like one of the Lord of the Rings movies, where like there wasn't a definitive ending, but you know something else is coming. So it's like the whole first one is just setting up. Okay, cool. Now all of our characters are going off on these other mini adventures.
Except Dune was good. Dune was a good movie.
Oh.
You have
whereas-
so many people screaming at their fucking phones right now.
That's cool.
What do you mean, Lord of the Rings stuff?
What do you mean? Hold on, let me push up my glasses. Dear ass face. Fuck you, Megan.
I'll fight all of them.
No, I'll be right there with them. Be like, no, Lord of the Rings is great.
What did he say at the end there? Then the sun will watch his death. It's like,
Like, yeah, whatever. But yeah, like I actually kind of liked how this started, where it almost showed like more of the conflict, or kind of like more of like why this spice is so important. Because I'm like, why are we fighting
Right.
over like cayenne pepper?
But they did. But they
What are we doing?
didn't. I like the amount of information you got,
Right.
but also the amount of information they left out was like, that's for people that want to read the book.
Yeah.
Like you
'Cause,
can't, you can't.
Yeah, well, and like, you know, I'm always kind of hesitant when like the movie starts with narration, because it's like, all right, if you got to like force
like, oh my
front
goodness.
like your plot,
Yeah.
it's like, all right, I get it. But like this was kind of like simple. Like Zendaya just gets on there and she's like, yeah, we have cayenne. These guys want it. Like we got to fight them forever now.
And everything
Okay,
is
cool.
in slow motion.
Yeah. It's like a Zack Snyder wet dream. I love it. But yeah, like and then like it opens in the year 10191.
10,191.
No, I think in the future they would say 10191.
No, they would just be like,
191.
191.
actually, you
Represent?
would just roll your eyes into the back of your head and then count.
Well, actually, it's 10191.
No, but the start of the story having some narration, and I like what they did, and I completely lied to you at the start. You're
Well,
like,
of
is this
course.
one of the ones where like you can't hear them talk during the whole movie? And I was like, no, of course not. They did a great job.
We
And
turned the
meanwhile,
TV all the way up.
Volume was on 85 the whole time.
Like Danielle and I literally have this running joke where it's like, you know, we'll be sitting there watching a movie, and every time we have to crank it up, it's like, just take the volume on the vocal knob and go like that.
Oh.
Oh yeah, it made a little fart noise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
But
can't
yeah, like-
replicate it.
But like every time we're watching a movie and like it gets too quiet, we're just like,
And then it gets too loud, and you're just like,
all right,
But
back
see,
it down
for
just a
me,
little."
like it can never get too loud, so I would just leave it at 85, and then just some of the
Suffer.
shit's gonna be really loud. It's an explosion. It's gonna be loud.
Yeah, well, we have neighbors, Michael.
And I'll fight them too, along with the Lord of the Rings fan base.
Oh my God! Yeah, you're gonna be fighting a lot of people. I'm sure some of these neighbors are into Lord of the Rings.
But they're all short and don't know how to fight, so it doesn't matter.
Listen, they're hobbits. Okay, they know how to fight.
Yeah.
All right, this is sorry.
My
this is
blade
not-
shall fall many.
This is not Lord of the Rings. I wish it was, but it's not.
We're never doing it.
That's fine. I'm doing that episode on my own. Check it out later.
On Patreon.
You're gonna have to start a separate channel for that.
Yeah, I'll make my own podcast, and it'll only be 3 episodes, one on each of the Lord of the Rings. But yeah, like so, our main character Paul.
Good space
Stupid name.
Good space alien name.
They couldn't have called him like Garlac. Like his name is so fucking stupid.
Garlac the Destroyer. I think it was taken. That's why they couldn't use that one.
Yeah, but it's like, all right, we got to follow
Paul.
Why are we following Paul?
It's like such a white name.
No relation to the mall cop.
And like his mom's name is Jessica, but yet the dad's name is like Leto. Like that's like a space name, like
That does
Leto.
sound spacey.
Yeah, but like, oh, you got Jess over here and fucking Paul.
Paul.
That's how you knew it was royalty, because his name sounded stupid.
It's so stupid. But they're eating breakfast, and like she kind of like discloses that Paul has like this voice or something where he can speak in like 47 different. It sounded like a bunch of different voices coming out of him.
I took it as like some demonic voice almost, but not demonic per se, that it's inherently evil, but that it's somehow connected to some spiritual something.
And it sounds
ethereal.
And like it makes it, like the way they made it sound was like every fucking possessed voice in every horror movie we've ever
where there's
watched.
like that
Give
high
me the
pitch.
water.
Yeah.
You're like,
Okay.
okay.
I'm so scared.
But that is the first time we see like not normal for a space fantasy movie. It was like this voice thing, and we see right away that it can compel people to do things, and he's trying it on his mom, who probably can resist it the best.
Yeah, because like it seems like she has the power as well. But like, do they explain what this is, or is it just, or did I miss it?
In the next one.
Oh, in the next one. Okay.
There's
They
a
like-
bunch of stuff that they'll
Yeah,
clear
they
up in the
vaguely
next one.
show you, and then
So
you
they're
kind of get
just like hinting
later.
to the idea,
Yeah.
like, okay, so he's got a power where he can kind of influence people to do what he needs.
And like, I'm not knocking the film by any means. I love
No,
this.
no,
I love
no,
this
definitely
movie,
not.
but it's a world building movie. Period.
Right.
It's got a fantastic story in it, and for some of us, it was easy to follow. But it is just it's the introduction to this whole intergalactic empire of politics and supply and demand.
Yeah, I hate to relate it to Star Wars, but it's a little Star Warsy, especially with the voice thing is just kind of like.
Would you say
the
it's
Force.
forceful?
The books were written before Star Wars existed.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna try my best to not relate it to
Yeah,
Star
not
Wars.
go to Star. I won't go to Lord of the Rings. You won't go to Star Wars.
Yeah, okay.
But like I did kind of I kind of saw this almost as like it was like Game of Thrones meets Star Wars, where it's like it had like all the political stuff.
I
hate all
of this.
And like the
I hate all
houses
of it.
and all that. And then it also had like the space battles. And
So
like, all that.
how
it was kind of
any
cool.
government is made up ever in the
Well,
history
no,
of
I'm not-
governments?
I'm not using that as a knock against it. That's how I kind of was like, oh shit, okay, cool. I can kind of get into this because you got like the political and houses from like
and
the
it's
one
your
thing.
standard intergalactic empire that like there's we can tell right off the bat that there's a supreme something to the galaxy or whatever, and then there's houses that control realms.
Right. Yeah.
So
and
they're not doing anything new with
no.
the government.
Yeah.
But it
mechanics.
made it like easier for me to kind of like be like, oh, okay, cool. So it's just like houses
It made
betraying
it
other houses.
easier
Right.
for
There's
my
some good ones.
easier for my slow brain to follow.
Yes, I'm very
you know?
slow.
Very slow
As you
brain.
know, I've gotten a few concussions in my life. But yeah, so we kind of get introduced to some of these other people. We have the Fremen who live in the desert and they like survive off their own sweat and
tears.
It's kind of freaking metal.
It's so
Right.
metal.
You have the what are they called? The Harkonids. They're like
The Harkonnen, yeah.
They're like the bad dudes. They're just there to like mine spice from this planet. And then you got Oscar Isaac's people, what were they called? The Elysians, the
House of
with an A.
Artrades.
Artrades. That was it. Yeah, and they're kind of like
There's so many things.
they're like the neutral good people.
They're the
kinda
people
seems-
that like just don't kill as many slaves to get the spice. That's realistically that's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like they.
Batista's really mean.
Yeah,
to the people that
Batista's
live
kind
there,
of a jerk.
and
Yeah,
they're trying
they
to,
have more like morality towards like not killing everybody and trying to
Right.
save lives.
like I hinted at earlier. The equipment's not cheap. Being on that world's not cheap. Shipping
Right.
the spices isn't cheap. Hey, go down there and be nice to them because it'll cost less.
Right.
That's so. While they are being nicer to the populace of
Mhm.
the planet, it's all just to lower costs and
Right.
maximize profit. So be the world.
But yeah, because Oscar Isaac kind of gets like charged with going to this planet where they're mining this spice and make friends with the Fremen and try and like work with them so they don't have to fight them every
more
time. More
diplomatic approach.
Right. And of course, Oscar Isaac, being the dutiful man that he is,
Beautiful.
he's like, hey, check the ring, bitch, and he puts his mark
Stop.
right on the paper.
And
he-
even though it's space, it wasn't an electronic transmission. They sent a messenger there, and normally you wouldn't think it was a big deal.
Right.
And then I forget the head security guy.
Oh, Jason
who's
Momoa?
the head security guy, not Jason Momoa. He was a pilot who
He seemed security. He was like
No.
killing people.
the guy that turns his eyeballs backwards.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, Jimmy.
And so I like that, how they let you know that they're doing this at great expense.
Right, right.
And it's something you don't really think about in these type of movies where they're like traveling to other
Yeah, you
galaxies.
don't really
and
get
things,
into the
cost
cost.
involved. And
Yeah.
then it comes up again later on where it's like, do you know how much it costs to bring this many arms to bear on
Right.
this planet? So none of this is cheap for anybody. This is a big game they're playing. And,
Right.
it kind of solidifies as like this was at great expense to come
Yeah.
and send a convoy to give you the planet.
Right. But I guess they basically decide, okay, well, the Harkins, they can't be mining this place anymore. Get them the hell out. We're gonna bring in these Atreides, whatever they're called.
Atreides.
We're gonna bring these guys in, and
Do
we're
it
gonna
differently.
we're gonna have Oscar Isaac kind of lead the planet and make sure everybody's protected and safe. But little do we know, there's some nefarious plots
Right.
being boiled.
Turns out to be a political maneuver.
Yeah, like surprise, surprise. We left you on a desert planet where you can't survive, and we told you, hey, survive.
Also, we're gonna like try to blow all of you up in a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like they get to the planet. What is it like? I have it written down, but I can't read my own handwriting. Arceus. I forget what the spice planet is.
I'm not gonna help too much. This is kind of fun.
Other sci-fi words. I'll just keep
Other
throwing them
sci-fi
out.
words.
There's too many. I could.
Yeah, but they land there and like they're welcomed by bagpipes because they're Scottish all of a sudden.
Right?
I dig it. Space Scots. It's my
Why
favorite.
not?
Space Cats.
Why not?
Yeah, but they get welcome and they're basically saying like, hey, we have the main city now. There's just some few pockets of like trouble that we have around here, but
Don't go outside in the daytime.
Yeah, like wear your weird nose breathy thing.
There's giant worms. Don't go out in the daytime.
There's also a shield. If you
Everything's-
leave it, you'll die.
Right.
everything's
trying to kill you.
Yeah, it's like Australia.
And,
Might as well be in Australia.
but
Yeah.
I like how they gave us some time to watch them get acclimated,
Right.
but also they didn't talk about it too much.
Mhm.
And then when a new piece of world data was important, it would show up. Like
Right.
they don't tell you about the underground cities that the Fremen live in that have plants and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They don't give you all the pieces right away.
Yeah.
So they kind of explained what was going on, and then we kind of figured the rest out with them,
Right.
which I kind of like because the only people that you're not supposed to like immediately is Batista.
Yeah, the Batista
And then
guys.
the guy that's dressed like a bad guy.
It's a little bit.
yeah,
like-
one of the
he's got
Skarsgårds.
a machine like on his spine and
A little
and
Sith-like.
all
Yeah.
yeah,
Sorry.
all
He's like
his
12
sorry.
feet tall.
everyone that he talks to is bald.
I
Like,
did say he
ugh.
looked like Slender Man, but like thick Slender Man.
Thick
yeah. It's like if Slender Man kind of let himself go.
Yeah.
Right, but also like had a super dope jetpack.
No, all right. It's kind of hard going through all of it, but like, can that guy fly, or does his
He's got
his legs
he's
just
got the
not work?
biomechanics, but they don't tell you yet.
Yeah, because like his legs are just like dragging across the table
That's
in that one
just-
scene. I'm just like, oh, dude, that's a little silly.
I just thought he had some sort of like levitating power.
Yeah, he was just like either that or he's like Big Bird and he's just really freaking tall.
He's
He's
just
got like
really
ostrich
long.
legs.
Well, it's the first time you see him, he's naked sitting on the table, and he doesn't have like a wheelchair. He's just got that
Like
thing
that
on his
thing
spine.
on his neck.
So I imagine I'd probably let my legs dangle if it looked more menacing as I came across the table to end your life.
I gotta be honest, I'd be like, are those your legs?
Are you dragging your legs?
Like, dude, you got those nice Jordans on. You're getting them all dirty.
Right? Creased them.
Doing. But we find out that Paul. I'm sorry, it's such
Paul
a
is
stupid name.
Paul is
Paul.
the chosen one.
Yeah, Paul is the chosen one. He's getting like all these visions of like the future and things to happen.
A lot of
and
Zendaya.
A lot of Zendaya.
Lot of
Kinda
Zendaya.
creeper status.
Yeah, a lot of visions of Zendaya. But he warns this that Jason Momoa guy, like, hey, I've seen your death. If you go to this planet, whatever. But after they get to the planet and Jason Momoa actually shows up, he's like, no, man, I've been friends with the
Right.
guys. Like, it's been great. Like, they've accepted me. Like, we had a few beers. Like, everything's cool. But he was basically explaining to him, like, dude, you don't know what's like really out there. Like,
Right.
this whole society is insane. Like, they invented these suits that allow them to live. They, can control like these giant sandworms. Like,
They don't control them. They use their environment to their benefit. But
so they don't like actually control them.
It was the big scene here, Steve, where it was saying you can't go against it. You must flow with the way things are.
Yeah,
That's how they could survive the storm and stuff.
Yeah, because
We'll
they
get
could
to
like hear your footsteps if you walk like a human.
Right.
But
Yeah.
if you kind of swish,
If you put a
through the
little
sand,
swag in your step.
Right.
you do a little swish.
sand walking, and it was
Yeah.
taken seriously.
Yeah,
Yeah,
little.
It was taken seriously.
Yeah. No, it was.
Yeah.
No, I get it. But so Paul now has to get put through this like pain test or something.
Yeah, that was
I was a
weird.
little confused by this, just because I didn't know
Well,
why they were doing it.
And
to him.
we're not given any information. You don't know why.
Right.
All we know is, and you can't really surmise it, but his father's never around when they're talking about practicing the voice at breakfast, or
Right.
when she does her little whisper to remain strong, he's he's never around when she does those things from the order of nuns.
Yeah, the nunnery.
It seemed like black magic to
Yeah.
me a little
Yeah,
bit.
Yeah, it was kind of because they were dressed like the bad guy, but seemed to be helping him and his mom.
they
Yeah.
had their freaking toes in all those ponds.
Oh yeah,
They were
But
they were
they're-
sleeping around.
they're definitely the like what would be the puppet master. They're the ones putting the hey, what about this over here, laying the paths.
That guy said your legs didn't work. He's like, that motherfucker. I'm gonna
Right?
go. I'm gonna go kill his
I'm gonna
entire
go
planet.
to that planet and take all their spice now.
Yeah.
But they do a good job of explaining the power of that too. And if you read the books or whatever, that those ladies mean business.
Yeah.
And you read the books?
They mean they mean business. They have their toes, like you said,
Mhm.
in everything. But there would be like a shadow government where they don't do the stuff.
Right.
They just present the opportunity and understand the people enough to lay a
okay.
path that they're
So they're
probably
more like
gonna follow.
They're just manipulative.
yeah. So they're like
Like they're telling them
I
what
know
they wanna
Steve
hear.
likes steak. Well, let's have the hitman at
Bring him
Outback.
steak.
Yeah.
He'll probably
It's like,
die.
well, you know.
Medium rare, yes, please.
Oh
Right.
man, send that fatty to Carrabba's. He's been eating loaves of bread like they're free.
Okay.
That's how a hitman would get me.
No,
Yeah.
he would just like walk into your apartment and shoot you in the face.
Probably.
No, I lock both doors now.
Or he could just wait for you to do it yourself.
Dun dun dun.
You're like, wow, these bottles,
Drive you crazy.
these bottles of
somehow.
whiskey just keep showing up. What's
Yeah.
going on?
Oh my god, this is great.
If you bring it, they will come.
If you bring it,
Something.
Steve will drink it.
Yeah, that's
Pretty
kind of how it works. If it's left in this house, it's going in my stomach.
So
Don't leave the alcohol here.
it's at night when the ship shows up and all
Yeah.
the nuns get off, and you're like, oh, what's going on? And the nuns come to the house to do this test, and we don't know why the test is happening. All we know is there seems to be a lot riding on it. The mother has the doctor check his vitals before he goes in.
Right.
This is going to be serious.
Yeah.
And she explains what she's going to do, presents a box.
So
Here's a poison needle.
like
If you remove your hand, you die.
so like not to like cut you off there, but like so this box.
Yeah.
Okay, in like the books or in the original, does it explain what the box does?
Well,
Because like the
box is
subtitles
pain.
just tell us it's whirring. So I'm like, is it like twisting his hand? Is it like digging something into his skin? Like what is
no,
it doing?
his hand came out unmatched.
It was fine.
It's all in the mind, Steve, because the voice comes from the mind, but is able to affect the physical world.
This
So
is
it-
where the fantasy comes
yeah,
in.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, yeah.
This is no longer sci-fi.
So
this is
the-
fantasy.
Strap it in. Hold on.
when
All
you
right,
when you
let's
put
go.
your hand in the box,
Uh-huh.
she's telling you what you're gonna feel. So like it's not real, but it feels real.
So it's like
and if you die in the Matrix, Steve,
you
you die in
for
real life.
So if he goes into this knowing like, oh, she's just bullshitting me, like it's like the placebo effect, like
No,
if
He
he doesn't
actually
believe
felt
in
a
it-
lot
no,
of
she
pain.
she was able to command him to kneel, and he's the Duke's son who also has the voice. So no, she's way better at it than him.
Oh yeah, no, like I get that, but I just mean like, you know, when he puts his hand in the box, it's like all like psychosomatic, where like he
Yes.
thinks he's feeling pain, but he's not. Nothing's actually happening to him. So if he like goes into that test,
Well,
being
that's
like,
what no
pain is an
No,
illusion.
he couldn't, or else the test would be stupid. But he learns that during the test. You see him steel himself,
okay,
calm his resolve.
yeah, because then he starts getting like those visions
and that's
shit.
why his mom's outside. Like, I shall not let the fear control me. I shall feel it, but let it pass through me. Steve, you got to pay attention to these movies.
Dude, I try, but then my nose starts bleeding, and then it's a
But
whole
yeah.
thing.
But
It's a lot.
she's just getting a thermometer to how much the boy has. And
Right.
then immediately after the test, he passed the test, obviously, because
Obviously,
they made
he's
the
the
whole
main
movie.
character.
But
The
she
movie
was
wasn't
like,
12 minutes.
she was pissed about it.
She was mad he passed the test because she was only supposed to have girls, because this is not real. This is just what I think.
Yeah.
Right.
I think the women could control the either emotion of it or the impulsivity of it that men tend to have. So they didn't want to give anyone impulsive this amount of power or the opportunity
Mm-hmm.
to have that much power, because that's what she says. Like, if you couldn't control your impulses, we couldn't let you live,
Right.
because
I get it.
because you got to be a gangster, Steve.
You got to be strong enough to
Gotta be cold.
reserved.
But
He fights through it, and I mean, the music swells. It's an
Yeah.
intense scene. It's one
and
of my
he's
favorite
crying
scenes.
like crazy.
He's
I love
drooling. He's like,
But you see it start to pass through him, and he's able to focus.
it. Right. Right.
And, it's great.
But
great.
yeah, so like, you know, like because they even mention it like while he's walking on this on the desert planet for the first time, because like they're all pointing at him and they're shouting like slurs and shit at him. But like,
Yeah, the Messiah is all positive.
yeah, it's all good things. But like,
You're gonna
Yeah,
save us
slurs.
and all that
yeah,
kind
you're
of stuff.
great, you're great, you're a good guy.
We
Hell,
voted for you.
Woohoo! Yeah, 4 more years.
And then I do like the reminder of when they get to the planet and there's the huge turnout. It's
Mhm.
like, hey, this is, the last guys were kind of dickheads, so this is like forced attendance.
Yeah, yeah.
This is
It's like forced hospitality.
Yeah,
Mm.
But-
they refer to them as it. It's like, no, this is because of them. Like,
Yeah.
they had mandatory attendance.
But this was honestly like kind of one of the really parts I was like really into, was when like they get to this like Oscar Isaac wants to see like the whole planet, and he's like, hey, show me these fucking spice mines, whatever. And they're getting there, and then they notice like one of the giant worms is like coming towards them, and they're like, oh shit, all right, we gotta fly this thing out of here with hot air balloons for some reason.
that they just
Like we've mastered inner space travel, but we need hot air
And
balloons.
one thing
Okay.
thing here.
All right,
the
all right.
daytime's really hot. So how hot did the air have to be in the balloon? Now, clearly it was filled with something else. Okay,
Mm.
it's a space movie.
I mean,
They
you
would
just
just-
kind of
they
poked a
would just-
hole in that air
they would-
balloon there, buddy.
they would just make up a gas that was
It's like
even
helium,
lighter.
but
It's helium, but on the drug planet.
Yeah, but like
drugged helium.
like the
Spiked helium.
freaking special effects in this scene are like incredible. Like the sand moving around this worm. Like
Yeah,
you
it's
don't
pretty
really
cool.
get like a good look at it at this point,
Mhm.
but it's amazing
You
to
feel
see.
it.
Yeah.
You feel more than you see,
Yeah.
which is
Lots of vibrating.
most of this movie.
Right.
Is you see the effects of something, not so much what's causing it.
Yeah,
like the ripples in the sand and the clouds, and it's great.
Yeah, it's like a hard thing to do to get your audience like almost preemptively scared of a thing that they don't even know what it is yet. They just see the build up to the thing, but you don't actually see it until like that mouth opens and like the whole harvester thing like falls into
Right, and
it.
and they just show you a little bit, so you're like, it's not going to be that big, and then you're like, gets a little closer, you're like, hey, that's pretty big.
Yeah.
And you see it, and it was like, that was a big
Yeah,
harvester.
the
The harvester
screen
was a
went
monster.
black for a moment too.
Yeah.
When it opened its mouth.
Like it's just insane to see like the perspective of like the humans coming out of that harvester and seeing how huge it is to them, and then
Right.
seeing how big this mouth opens up and how small the harvester is compared.
They're not even as tall as the tracks.
Yeah.
Like one of the tracks.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
It's such a like I didn't think friggin' worms could be a menacing plot device, but that's kind of cool.
Yeah, if they're big enough to eat a building.
I mean, have you seen SpongeBob?
It's an Alaskan bullworm.
That's the vibes I got, but like so much cooler.
Yeah, times like 20, I think.
Times like 20,000.
Holy shit, that's a big worm.
Yeah.
And like way less water on the planet than under the sea.
Scary and pink.
Pretty much.
But while this is all going down, Paul
Every time.
goes on his acid trip for the first time. He inhales a little too much of this spice.
Yeah.
And he's just like kneeling by the harvester, and he's like, "Yo, bro, I'm ready to die. Send me to him."
And I do like when Josh Brolin and him have a little fight sequence earlier where he's like teaching him, you have to be ready. Like, the mood. You're not in the mood to fight.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So he already has a established relationship with this guy. One of the things was when he came into the room to train, he said, you're training with your back to the door. He's like, I heard your footsteps. I knew it was you.
Yeah.
And then in this one, he's walking up behind him in the sand, and and he says out loud, he goes, I could hear your footsteps.
Yeah.
And then it's Josh Brolin
Well,
there.
it
I was
knocks
like,
him out of
sweet.
his Zendaya fantasy.
Yeah.
Like
Which had to be done several times in this movie.
He's trying to get a smooch.
If
And
nobody
then Josh
woke him
Brolin
up,
comes in.
if nobody woke him up, it would just, the whole movie would just be a hallucination
over.
about Zendaya. But people kept interrupting him, which
Yeah.
thankfully moved the plot along.
He's like, I could dream about her for hours, and Tom Holland's like, what the fuck is this movie about?
So, what did you film today, Zendaya?
He's like, oh no, nothing. I definitely didn't kiss Timothy Chalamet. Like, that wasn't my whole day.
It's just most of it.
I was honestly surprised how little she is actually in this movie,
Yeah.
outside of like flashbacks and dream sequences.
Yeah, my guess is she's going to be a prominent figure in the second one.
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
And
Yeah,
that's why she agreed to do the first one, or else they'd have just got somebody no name to do it.
I mean,
Yeah.
I gotta be honest. That's like my perfect role. You put me in the movie, 15 minutes tops.
And you
I'm
just
there for
kind
like
of
a
run
day
in
and a half.
slow motion or like look behind
Yeah,
you.
I'm just like, I will kiss you eventually.
Yeah, do that towards the
I
camera.
thought you were just
Oh,
yeah,
kiss you
do it
eventually.
away from. I thought you were just trying to like take work from Zendaya. But
No, I mean I could.
no, you couldn't.
We're pretty much the same level of attractiveness. Come on, me and Zendaya. It's I walk into a crowd and you're like, oh, he's a 10, just like Zendaya. I'm
I
like,
think-
oh, thank you.
I think you're on different scales.
Different scale.
Different scales entirely.
I'm gonna go cry and write in my
Sorry,
journal about
Zendaya's a movie star.
this. Yeah, I could be a movie star. Just nobody wants bald men outside of Jason
well,
Statham.
there were a lot of bald men in this movie.
Yeah, they could have put me in this movie.
You
and
could have
I
got a
would've
cameo for sure.
been- Yeah.
Yeah.
But
You know what? I'm gonna petition.
He'd have been one of the guys they drained to fill the blood trough.
Guys,
Just
did you see
laying
me
there
in Dune?
naked.
I was dead.
Fourth guy on the left getting his throat cut. It
You
was
could
great.
totally see my wiener.
Yeah. Wasn't it great, guys? Oh my god. But
I asked him not to blur me out.
at some point, the Batista planet decides we're gonna destroy all of the Oscar Isaac planet. whatever, who cares? And then
Kill them all.
after Paul goes on his acid trip and visualizes Zendaya kissing him, we go back to the Batista planet, and fucking Skrillex is throwing a concert with his throat singing and his dubstep. Yep. Everybody in unison. Fuck you. The one time we got you. But, like, you know, I guess their army is preparing for war. They're all getting, like, marked for blood, whatever.
Marked with blood.
Marked with
for
blood.
war.
For blood. For blood.
Blord.
It's the classic.
It's the white hand of Saruman. Let's be honest. It's the white hand of Saruman.
It's not.
Who do you serve? Saruman.
Yeah.
I get it.
It's different.
It's different.
It's completely different.
It's completely
this was
the same,
a good
but
film.
different.
I say it again. Gee whiz. And they weren't birthed out of caves.
Excuse me, Saruman wouldn't put up with this kind of indiscretion.
He only had one eye. I'd have walked up behind him.
I would have poked him in his eye. Drop that contact. He can't even see me.
We do get a little bit of an explanation for why this war is going on. They give you the amount. Obviously, this spice is generating revenue, and I don't think we said it before, but this is the only planet that has the one ingredient you need for interstellar space travel.
Yeah, it's weird that
Because-
everything is based off of this.
Well,
Yeah.
when given to someone that's trained, they can see the way using this spice.
Mhm.
So
It's filled with midichlorians.
I'm gonna kill both of you if you don't stop relating this to garbage movies. This film's on a different level than what you're talking about. Star Wars is trash now,
Shut
and
up,
Lord of the
Michael.
Rings was never good.
Oh, my God.
Thank you. Thank
All
you.
right, anyway, continue.
So someone has to pilot the ship. Them being trained with the spice allows them to see the way so they don't slam into planets and stuff.
Okay.
That's the only way it can happen. That's the rules of this
Okay.
galaxy.
Yeah,
type
that's what they
thing.
set up for their sci-fi.
But since it's so much money, clearly there's going to be dissent with the person not getting it anymore.
Mhm.
And they hint at a little bit, even though this movie's just a setup movie, they hint at, there's going to be, we need to create tension. And then they say it again later on in the film where it's like, oh my word, if it would be the families going to war, it would be chaos.
Mhm.
And the bad guy floating Jabba the Hutt, to use your stupid references. Yeah, and you just said really bad stuff to a lot of people on that planet, Steve. So
Yeah, well, the Hutts are mean, all right? So screw them.
just a one was proven not very nice. But the chaos will allow a warlords do better in chaos. Politicians do better in peacetime.
Right.
That's how the whole shebang works. If you didn't know, read stuff.
Yeah. Read your local
Just
blog.
read history, and this is how it works. when there's violence going on, the violent guy is able to make all the money.
Well, speaking of the violent guy, the violent guys are about to destroy all of the
Mhm.
not so violent guys.
So we get
Yeah.
a couple different setups here with the doctor putting the pills out for everyone
Yes.
that night, and there was
Now, hold on. Before we go on, those pills, were they actually sleeping pills, or was he trying to poison them?
Well, there was sleeping pills, but my guess is they wouldn't use them every night, and since they're the elite, you can just be like, hey, I need to get a good night's rest.
Right.
And you'd take one of those.
It's just like super melatonin.
Yeah. Well,
It's like 50 milligram melatonin.
Melatonin hardcore.
or just like,
XXL melatonin.
or just like a good diet and exercise and blackout curtains, and then you're good to go.
Yeah.
But hey,
Okay, so he wasn't like trying to kill.
no. But I imagine
He was just trying to put them
He
out.
wanted to put them out because he cared about them, but they had something he cared about more, which was his wife. And blah blah blah.
Right.
Just get
Yeah,
a,
his
just
wife,
get a new
whatever.
one.
All right, so
you can
the-
fly spaceships to different planets. Just get a
All
new
right.
wife.
But all right, so how many times have we seen, the bad guys like, all right, I have your family. You got to do this bad thing for me, and I'll let them go. And they always
kill
fucking
'em.
betray them.
Yeah.
Always.
How many
Steve.
times are we going to fall for this as a collective community, all right?
See, we the viewer don't fall for it,
Yeah.
but one cannot know the pain.
like, all
that
right,
he's
I got to
experiencing.
be honest, okay? I'm not going to put you in this situation. If they had Michael
Leave me there. I'm trying to kill people myself.
and like Captain Floaty Britches over there came
Uh-huh.
up to me and he was like, you have to kill Oscar Isaac or I'm going to murder Michael. And I'll be like, trust me, Michael's already probably taken about 50 of your guys with him, so he lived a good life. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You're on your own.
He's enjoying this,
Yeah, no, he's having a great time. Even if he dies, he had a great time.
but his wife, probably not of the same merit of character as I, was already dead.
Yes.
And it's the sad thing. You can see it coming, but someone that desperate to save someone he loves has to betray
There's got to be a betrayal.
someone he
Yeah.
serves, because
Mhm.
serving someone and feigning loyalty and love are different. They pull on separate strings of the heart.
But I like how he gives Oscar Isaac. He's like, hey, I may have screwed you over. However, I just gave you the key to
Right.
defeat your
And
enemies.
there's a go bag
Mhm.
in the Dragonfly helicopter.
Yeah, like he said.
There's
he
a
said
go
Paul-
bag. He's got a way out. He sets him
Paul.
up, and
Mhm.
he's trying to do the best he can
Right.
in a crappy position that he's found himself in. I want to know,
Mhm.
how did you let them get your wife?
Yeah.
Should have been more careful, bud.
It was
should've
on
been better.
him. They caught him lacking,
Yeah. Mm.
and then now
He
Paul's
wanted that
dad has to
smoke.
die, right?
Yeah. But I love it. He's just like, here's a fake tooth. Give me your other fake tooth that we already had for you, and put this in your mouth.
Yeah.
And then when you crush it, it'll be your last breath, but it'll be everybody
it's-
else's last
It's
breath
space,
too.
so you
Yeah.
could immediately
No,
just think,
But
well,
it's
it's a
fucking
signal.
badass.
Yeah.
Like, I love that idea that he can just be like, yeah, like, because like you get those James Bond movies where it's like, oh, my tooth is a cyanide capsule.
Yeah.
But this is like, it's like cyanide, but for everybody in the room.
Right.
Kill
Yeah.
them all. Let's go.
Don't kill yourself. Take the whole building.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
that's
well,
pretty
kill
cool.
yourself, but also kill everybody else
Right.
with you.
Yeah.
You're already going to die.
Mm-hmm.
You might as well take everyone down.
Just ruin the air quality for everyone else
Yeah,
immediately.
It's like letting a really bad Taco Bell fart out in a crowded elevator.
I think the space drugs probably beat Taco Bell farts at
It's
this
like
point.
it's insta death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I don't understand why he had him just like laying there naked in this scene. Like, is it just
For
like
power.
because I would.
A power
like that,
trip.
No,
Yeah.
I caught you. Here you are, as embarrassed as you can be. You are a king. Now you lay at my feet naked.
Yeah, but he can't
Dick
even
out.
use his feet.
It
So-
doesn't matter if you're the one putting the naked guy down.
Yeah, but all right.
It's too much, Steve. Too much. He's in power, and he's shoving it down the guy's throat,
Yeah,
who used to be a king of one of the 5 most powerful
Right.
families in the galaxy.
Everything is a power
But
Shame.
I feel like as the bad guy, if I stripped my enemy down to his britches and he was completely naked, but he had a huge schlong, I'd feel pretty embarrassed because I just gave that guy props.
No, there's a
Now
thing.
my entire-
there's a thing called combat dick. You can
Combat
look it
dick.
up. No one's. It's not a hot summer day.
Combat dick? Is this a
It's
thing?
it's a real thing. Look it up. Look it up.
I don't want to look this up. I'm gonna
Is
get
it-
some weird searches.
Rock hard or the opposite?
No, it's the opposite. It gets as small as possible, not to get shot off or blown off or yeah.
It just
Wait, your
like
dick has
retreats.
like a sixth sense?
Well, your body system tries to protect itself. That's why when you go into hypothermia, all your blood goes into your like torso and your arms fall off 1st.
Mhm.
Like your body does that as a natural mechanism.
Right.
There's a ton of things
Screw
your
my
bodies
arms.
do. You should know
Pop
these.
off.
You have bodies.
Yeah, well, I don't pay attention to it, obviously.
Anyway, enough about the size of Oscar Wilde's member.
I'm betting it's like huge. That's my final word on
Cool.
All right.
I don't care. He's probably doing great.
it.
Moving
Yeah, he's
on.
doing great for himself. But yeah, so he cracks his tooth. He spits out his final breath and he kills a bunch of people in this room. I don't know how the main guy survives it. I guess these shields that they have like filter out toxins.
No, his shield turned red and was glitching like a sword going through it. But he went up into the top corner of the room where the density of the poison would be the least.
But like, doesn't it like rise?
Why would it behave like on Earth, Steve? Are they on Earth?
I don't know.
Is the
I don't know
poison-
what the gravity fucking is. Apparently, it's fine if
Well,
they're walking around without oxygen.
First of all, gravity doesn't do
Yeah, it's
anything
just
to
like
gaseous
different,
particles.
different physics.
This could be a physics lesson.
Yeah, please
but it's
explain.
a different planet with different poison. Therefore, nothing has to work the same. They also use drugs to go through space.
Yeah, it's a very trippy.
The particle physics are not
story.
going to match Earth.
I mean, trust me, people nowadays use drugs to go through space, so it's fine. I get it. But like, it was just one of those things where I'm like, okay, so but how did him being up in the corner of the room kind of like spare him when he got a direct dose of it, like standing in front of us?
He was holding his breath.
I mean, he's the leader of that warrior people.
Right.
We kind of think he's handicapped. He's survived so many things. You can see all the distortion on his body.
He has strong lungs.
So he's a survivor. Like
Right.
that's just in his nature to survive.
He just survives.
Just because like his face is messed up. He's got like weird like Batista looked like a normal human. He looked augmented, and he was augmented to survive.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That makes sense.
But he looks gross.
I'm sorry. I like a lot of sci-fi stuff. I kind of need a little more.
The black
little more
goop.
Yeah. Like, why was he?
That
What was the black
healing.
goop?
It was drawing the poison out of his body.
It was drawn. Oh.
It
So they
looked
were
like
adding like
blood.
it looked like they were adding olive oil in there. Like they're just pouring a bunch of
There's a
olive
little
oil.
pool
Yeah.
of it in the middle.
So probably one is to give him enough oxygen that he doesn't need to breathe, and then the other one's to heal him.
Or he's just Italian and he wants his olive
Daily
oil.
dose of olive oil and balsamic
'Cause when
vinaigrette.
when he
you
comes-
need it. You
when he-
need it.
It was a balsamic reduction. You could tell by the thickness.
I hate both of you. when he comes out of the fluid, he's not out of breath, meaning something's oxygenating
Yeah, it's
his blood
oxygenating.
while he's in there.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
There's also spaceships in the movie, so the Healy liquid should suffice.
Okay.
Have we made it to the halfway point yet?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're pretty much.
That's
we're
the
pretty
thing.
much
Like
through
I knew this wouldn't take that much time
yeah.
because you can't go through.
Yeah,
Everything.
there
Not
was
too
so
much.
much happening that you kind of have to think of it in broad moments, I guess.
Oh.
Right.
You have to look at the story with the
picture.
bigger picture.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
like a political figure toying with minions.
Well, speaking of political figures, our boy Paul,
Our boy Paul.
and his mom Jess are wandering through the desert, and they come upon our
Yep. One thing, Steve.
yes,
Jess is pregnant.
yes.
Yep.
Her son knew because of the voice.
Mm-hmm.
We all agreed it was a little weird to be
little
checking
weird.
up on your mama like that.
Yeah,
It was
a little
weird.
awkward.
Little weird.
No, I
Yeah.
mean my first note at this breakfast scene in the morning was a little awkward because her first line is, "If you want me to give it to you, you better command me to give it to
Right.
you."
Yeah, that
gotta
was
command
that
it.
was a little weird.
Yeah, it's like,
And then he used the voice. We were like, all right.
okay,
Glad-
all right,
all right.
good. I'm glad we cleared that up.
Like,
We're
I
not
thought this
having
was
some.
PG-13.
This is not some Othello.
Could
thing.
have gone much differently.
Yeah, but they're wandering through the desert and they end up finding our frick. I forget what these people. The Freeman. The
Mhm.
Freeman out in the desert, and
It's not the Freeman.
it is the Freeman.
It's not the Freeman.
The desert people are the Freeman.
Freeman.
Freeman. Well, I assume they were free, so they were pronounced the Freeman.
No, they're not. It's
Freeman.
been a planet of slaves the whole time.
Yeah. All right. But they will eventually be free, so they're. the
We'll
Freeman.
find out in.
I guess in
the-
part 2.
Yeah,
But
or maybe not even in part 2.
Mhm.
It might be.
is there going to be a part 3?
It might be the Great War that calls together even the higher. Never mind. I said nothing.
So there's good. Whatever.
Well,
We'll figure it out.
The houses have to fight, and then who is pulling all the strings? Maybe the intergalactic government. Oh, then you got to fight them. So there's like gonna be
It's
3
a
parts.
trilogy.
Oh my god.
Or a quadrilogy.
A quadrilogy, like the Alien movies.
They could make a bunch. I'd watch them all.
quintrilogy?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm
One of them
interested
could
in
just
this.
be
In this
like
next
them
one.
walking around in the desert, avoiding the big worms with their technology and like.
Yeah.
A spin-off movie.
Right.
All I'm saying is somebody better be on one of these worms. Like Paul better be riding a fucking worm.
Obviously, they showed you someone riding a worm.
I know, but I
in
want
this one.
Paul to do it.
Clearly, Paul will do it in the next movie.
Mm.
But yeah, so him and Paul and Jessica get to the Freeman, Freeman.
Freeman.
Sorry, the Fremen, and they end up being like, all right, well, Paul, you can come with us. You're trained, whatever. But your mom, she's out. We don't want her. And
Too old, cannot learn the ways.
Yeah, and this guy, what was his name? Slycard.
He dies. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
whatever.
But he's like,
Yeah.
he steps to Jessica, and Jessica beats the shit out of him. And this other guy is like, well, you're pretty weak, So I'm going to use this as like a power struggle. And then,
Right.
Paul just like puts him in his place. And now all of a sudden Paul's like, yo, you're like our champion. Come on, Paul. Like, we're best friends.
Paul.
Paul.
Yeah, but it's like
Paul's doing it. Yeah.
they're almost like, man, we knew that guy for like 45 years. We just met you, Paul, and you're like our best friend now. Like,
Right.
fuck that guy.
You're our leader now.
But it is, I mean, that is the way of the people.
Yeah.
And he challenges his leader, like, hey, the strongest lead, and she bested you.
Yeah.
I'm not challenging you. You lost.
You lost
so
to
he
her.
like immediately makes the power play.
Right.
And it's like, maybe don't sword fight the pregnant lady.
Yeah.
Like just maybe, like, I don't know, leave her alone for a while she grows a human.
yeah,
it's
give her
kinda
9 months and then fight her. It's fine.
But the one thing I liked was that even, like, he knew his mother could handle business.
Yeah.
So he got up with a more powerful weapon. So just in case they did something silly, he could, like, kill all of them.
Right.
And then, of course, Zendaya's like, I'd never let you hurt any of my friends. It's like, he would have got one shot off. Like,
Yeah.
he'd 100%
At
got
least
one
one.
shot off.
Yeah.
And that pistol seems pretty important because he takes it back from him.
Yeah, and he's like, you'll
"Yeah, but
get one when you're ready."
you earn it.
Mhm.
And it's like, all right, maybe it was like a big gravity cannon or something that would have just,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
just destroy
It makes a black hole and the whole planet just gets sucked into
Right?
it.
No, or it just summons one of those worms. Like, it just instantly like comes breaking out of the ground wherever he shoots
Would
it.
have been cool.
That would be sick.
But what I did like about this little thing is it established there's a very tribal aspect to
Right.
these people, but there's also, like, a lot of honor and rules and history, and this is how things are done. This is the way, because we need to flow.
Yeah.
In,
Well,
in
it's like
this
what I said.
in order to survive.
I'm like, somehow we're in the future, but we're still fighting with swords.
Right.
It's like we're still trying to maintain like honor and like feudal combat.
Well, it's a different planet, Their
Right.
Yeah.
years are different than our years. Maybe
They
they
had
started
pretty-
counting sooner.
They started counting
Well, but
sooner.
yeah, they started counting a lot quicker.
Yeah.
But there are guns.
Yeah,
Most
yeah.
of them, it's not going to be a projectile. It's going to be some sort of energy-based weapon.
Yeah, like
Because ammo's too heavy to carry across the desert, because you
Right.
would sweat more and you'd lose water and then you'd die.
yeah.
So all
Everything
their
has to
stuff's
be
going to be
lightweight.
lightweight.
Yeah.
Like that steel is the knife is the tooth of one of the sandworms, and I imagine that's probably really strong and
Oh,
super
yeah.
durable, but also lightweight.
Yeah.
But I think my favorite part of this scene where the challenge is made, and I like how he doesn't say anything. He just steps forward.
Yeah.
He's like, well, who will be her champion then? And he just steps forward.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see there's like a split second where you can see the look on her face
Mhm.
where she's like, she knows he's going to step up because
Right.
they have that communicating thing. He was able to see if she's pregnant. She can probably know that he's going to go fight
Yeah,
to the
it's
death.
like a telepathic
Yeah.
Right, right.
connection.
So that was pretty neat. And then it showed you the difference in culture again, where they start fighting. They kind of feel each other out. Paul gets his
Paul.
nose bloodied, and you can see him kind of turn it on. He's
Yeah.
like, all right, it's playtime now.
It's like, all
Let's-
right, you got
all right,
one
let's-
shot. I gave you that one.
I wanted to see what I was working with. Because even before, Zendaya's talking crap, doesn't know him at all. It's just like, here, hold this. It'll be good when you die.
Yeah.
It'll be good for you when you die. It will be with honor.
You
It'll
know
be
what
quick.
happens when you assume things, Zendaya?
Yeah.
Right.
You make an ass out
You
of
make-
you and me.
You get look stupid in front of all your friends.
Yeah, now you're a poopy head.
So he gets the guy to a killing blow, and
Yeah.
it's just like, well, you yield. And everybody's just kind of like, whoa, that's like the biggest insult ever. It's like there's no yielding in this type of combat.
You either die
And
or
then
you
he
don't.
does it like 3 more times, and the guy gets, until he's screaming. He's furious. He's like, you should have killed me. Now you're embarrassing me.
Right.
Death is better than dishonor.
Ooh.
Death before dishonor.
Oh, shit.
And then, I mean,
Bunch of guys just shit their pants right there.
but yeah, death before dishonor.
I know that saying.
But they take a little bit of a break in it. He's like, is he toying with him? The leader asks his
Right.
mom, and she's like, no, Paul's never killed a man.
I'm
And you're just
sorry.
like-
It's fucking Paul.
You're like, yeah, but I mean, if you fought him, you'd have got stabbed way faster.
Yeah,
Steve.
probably.
You would have died without a sword in your hand, and you would have never seen the gates of Valhalla.
That's
Okay.
fine. That's fine. At least I'm
Okay.
not named Paul.
Yeah.
Okay.
Paul in Valhalla, better than Steve not in Valhalla.
I'll be in Vanaheim, wherever that one is.
It's not a real place.
It is.
It's
it is.
not.
I've been there.
It's not.
It is.
You know why?
Why?
Because Big Sandworm made it. They were vibrating too much over there. And
Yeah, they were dancing too much. The
But
Sandworm game.
he gets the kill, obviously.
Obviously.
His first kill.
We need a man. We need a main character.
And yeah, it's kind of important for films and plots and story devices and things
Right.
like that. But it's a pretty good kill where you see him. He's like, no, I gotta.
Yeah,
Again,
and like
you
he's
see him
remorseful
focus.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because like he like goes in like kneels by him and he's just like, hey dude, I'm gonna be the last thing you see as you're dying.
Which is
Like,
kind of like
it's fine.
good shit on, idiot.
Yeah, it's like step up again, see what
And
happens.
just teabags him.
Yeah, he just
Yeah.
like boops him on the nose like you're dead now. Boop.
Gives him a wet willy.
Yeah, take that to hell with you. Tell him Paul sent you.
I honor you with moisture and spits in his
He
face.
just spits in his mouth. You look thirsty, my friend.
But it's a
That's
They-
just
they-
respect.
Yeah, that's the ultimate respect.
Yeah.
the film was much more respectful than we're being. They wrap him and carry him.
Yeah, yeah.
But this is kind of where we see him embrace all of, because we get these dots of these visions and we don't really see a storyline in any of them. We know that sometimes they come true. The main soothsayer asks him, do the things you see always come true?
Right, right.
He's like many, a lot of the time, but some of the time.
Yeah, like, but not always.
not
exactly.
always. So, and then we see that take place with Jason Momoa. He survives that instance. Like that, him dying there doesn't happen in his vision.
Right.
But he dies another way. So he's like kind of close to everything.
Mhm.
And then the knife is presented by the maid to the mom. She carries the knife, never mentions it to him, and she sees him get handed a knife. So there's little bits and pieces that are important. So it seems to me, in my professional opinion, that while he has access to some void of knowledge and how it relates to us,
Yeah.
he hasn't found a way to fully focus it. And I think the training to survive the desert will also be able to be adapted to focus the voice.
Ooh.
It's
Do you
gonna
think
be
he's
great.
gonna?
He's got to hone his skills.
He's going to go, yeah.
Do you think he's gonna talk to some worms? You think he'll be able to talk to worms?
He's going to be a Jedi
My
master.
guess is what would be cool is if he could influence the environment without the machines.
Ooh, sand bending.
Oh, he could be a
Mm.
sand
No, you're
bender.
just relating it to garbage. This whole time is garbage.
No, but like
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah.
the voice.
like he
like-
can like send like yeah, I get
he
you.
might become the one because he, establishes the mind and planet connection that they've been trying to do the whole
Right.
time through machinery. They've just been waiting for the one to unlock their planet, so to
Right.
speak, because that was described as it could have been an oasis until they learned how much they could sell the spice for.
Yeah, and then they wanted it to stay a desert.
Yeah. See, you gotta be. It's a
Okay.
thinking man's movie.
No, I
Yeah.
like it.
There's a lot of moments where they show you visually things that are going on without dialogue explaining it.
Yeah. It was a lot of
And,
show,
yeah.
not tell.
Right.
Yep.
Which is-
Which I love. In
Yeah, it
movies.
kind of worked out for this one.
And then one silly thing I have to put in here. The old Get Smart television show
Yes, yeah.
had the cone of silence.
Yes. They did the cone
And
of silence.
They
I
did
was
the
gonna
cone of
say.
silence, but it worked.
Yeah, it actually
So
works
it
this
took
time.
8,000 years for the cone of silence from Get Smart to be perfected, but they had the idea.
Yeah, they had the cone of
And
silence.
I really liked how, since we were outside the cone of silence, it just showed subtitles.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
That was such a cool way
What
to
a
do
great
that.
decision.
No, that was
I loved
great.
it.
But yeah, no, I mean, for my first time watching it, I'd say that was fun. It was a good sci-fi adventure, and like, I don't normally, go for like more of the like heady sci-fi like this
Oh,
is.
yeah.
It's a
But
little
like
heavy.
this was cool. Like, and I'm excited for the second part. Like, I want to see kind of like the more like and I know you're gonna come straight for me, but I want to see like more of the action side of it and kind of see what this war is gonna lead to.
They're setting up the war.
Right.
It's probably gonna be gnarly.
Right. Right.
I mean, this was already crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I would like to watch it again, I think, to like fully wrap my head around it.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Let it really
Yeah.
sink in.
Yeah, we'll take some spice before we watch it. We'll be in a better headspace.
Okay.
But one of the things about this film is they didn't do everything right, but they did enough things really well.
Yeah.
Like the dialogue was good. The story has enough meat on it for all time. Like if you don't really want to pay attention, it's just worms eating stuff and then ships explode and
these people don't like these people and those people don't like those people.
Right.
Cool.
And then
whatever.
for somebody like me that it's like, okay, well, why is he doing that?
Yeah.
Why would they put that in the movie if it was gonna? Oh, okay. I see. I'm trying to lay my own path. You know?
You can put as much thought into it as you want.
Yeah.
The only effort you want to put in is the only effort you need to put in to enjoy it.
Right.
Yeah, you could just watch it and just be
But
amazed by the cinematography.
As far as the scenery goes, I don't know if you noticed, once they switched to the sand planet, you really kind of remember how nice looking their home planet was.
Right.
Because they show you a lot of crazy cool landscapes on the home planet, and then when it leaves, it's just sand for the rest of it. But they show you just as cool landscapes, it's just sand. It's not the green and the forest. It's the vast
it's
space
just showing
and
like the
sun
differences
and the moons. And I liked how they did that, where they gave both worlds the same amount of beauty.
Like, everything still looked amazing. It was just instead of seeing trees, you're now seeing dunes. Sorry,
it was pretty good. The effects, like the CGI that was in it was pretty good. I know Danielle didn't really like the balloons inflating.
No, I mean they did kind of look a little wonky.
A few moments looked wonky, but most of it was good.
If the freaking sandworms looked cool, I'll take a little weird and floating balloon.
But I don't know how much.
Were cool.
Yeah, I don't know how much of the ships were. Like if it was sitting in the background, like I imagine it's just like a photograph. Or something. But they did a good job. And even it's not artsy, but it was all colored in a way that was artsy. Like the ships had thick lines, but also ran smooth with the like dunes. There was sharp edges, but they seemed to flow. Like it kind of, the art matched the landscape,
right,
so to speak.
And like everything made sense within the world.
Yep.
Like it made sense that they have like these dragonfly freaking ships, because it's like, oh, you would see those bugs in this kind of environment, and they obviously know what they're doing.
Blend in.
The ship in space looked like it should be in space. The ships in the desert looked like they should, and even the city design, how it was low and everything was angled, no sharp things. And then we find out that the wind blows at like 600 kilometers an hour. It's like, oh, that's why their city was really low to the ground. They had a big wall, and everything was a ramp.
Yeah, everything's aerodynamic.
So and everything would just blow away.
Yeah,
but
makes it easy for the sand cleanup.
Yeah, I did like how they showed you the expanse of it too, because a lot of times in these space movies, you end up being inside the ship, or inside a building, or between two valleys,
and you maybe see it through a window or something.
Yeah, exactly.
But we were out in the elements with them for most of the film, and even the stuff in the buildings was still given space. Like even their bedrooms were, the camera was always way back in the room, and there was a good amount of space everywhere, which was kind of neat, because a lot of sci-fi movies feel claustrophobic. They're in the ship and they're like squished.
I mean, look at the big things. Like you got like Alien is a big like sci-fi space movie.
In the
You're
ship
only
most
in a
of the time.
ship,
and in the cockpit a lot, which is even smaller.
And granted, you do get to touch down on the planet, but they don't really show you much of the planet, and you're right back on the ship, because that's where the story's going to take place.
That's where the alien is.
Yeah, but it's like, I like what you're saying with this, where it's like, okay, our story takes place on these planets. Let's get used to these planets. Like, show us these planets. Show us why, or like how this society has survived for this long on such a hostile planet. Like,
Yeah, it's kind of like they moved from a beautiful paradise to this place.
yeah.
At one point, I was just like, Mom, why did we move here? I want to go
This
back
place
home.
sucks. I want to go home.
Mom, all my friends in my school are on the other planet.
Yeah,
Like,
but they do try to make beauty out of a bad situation.
no, and like, you know,
Diamond
I never thought I could say like, oh wow, rolling hills of sand look beautiful,
That's pretty
but
cool
like they
looking.
looked great.
Looked pretty
Like,
cool.
Everything looked great.
Yeah.
But for a movie that's just an introduction to a whole planetary system and intergalactic government and
Yeah.
political squabbles, they definitely, I think they did a good job of showing you what's important.
Mm-hmm.
And also, we kind of decide through the middle of the film, we're like, all right, we know we don't like Batista and the guys that are killing everybody. But they're taking all the spice from the planet, the people's planet.
Mm.
They're supposed to hate each other. There's obviously tension between them, but you like both sides of it. Like the characters are cool enough. Like when that guy walks in to meet with Paul's dad,
Yeah.
when he like spits on the floor and you see the hostility, but it just shows a difference in culture, and you're like, well, that guy's kind of cool. Like,
Yeah.
he's kind of cool. But you also like Paul and Paul's dad.
Paul.
I don't know. You just kind of, well, I like both of these guys, and man, I really hope they can work together because I like both these peoples. And then they show
Yeah.
you at the end of the film, okay, we're going to work together. We both have a lot to learn from each other. type
Right.
thing,
Exactly.
which was nice.
But yeah, no. I mean, I'm sold. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I definitely want to see what happens next.
Yeah. No, and I definitely, I think I'm with you. I would want to sit and watch this one more time before that next part comes out.
Although it's a little long. It
Yeah.
doesn't feel as long as it is almost.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't.
Like for 2.5 hours, like it did kind of fly.
Yeah.
Like that last 40 minutes, like that last time we paused,
Felt
it,
like
that-
10.
Yeah, it
Yep.
felt like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, it was pretty nice.
Yeah, they do a good job. Not so much pushing the pace, but even at the start of the film, we're getting a lot of information. It's happening quickly,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of story takes place over this 2.5 hours. Like they set up the whole world, show you the conflict. Oh, everything fell apart. Okay, let's build something together now.
Right.
And they do a good job. Like, it didn't feel rushed, but it kind of feels like, all right, get him the information for the second movie.
Yeah, yeah,
Get
yeah.
him the information for the second one. The second one's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, it feels a little setup-y.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping they don't.
Yeah,
like,
no, but I mean, I think until maybe Dune 2 comes out, maybe we'll do a little thing on that just
Well,
to see where we're at.
Yeah, we'll watch it first and then
Yeah.
decide. Because if I'm gonna be so mad if
Yeah,
they
if it's
just ruin
bad,
it. If they
yeah.
just absolutely ruin it.
If
I'm
they
gonna be
ruin it, we'll
unhappy.
have to talk about it though.
Yeah. We'll just have to be like, hey, remember how good part 1 was?
It was great. They were setting up what could have been a fantastic franchise.
Man, that went downhill fast.
Right. Now, they'll do it. They'll do a good job, and I'm sure if you're able to put that much story
Yeah.
into the first one, hopefully you're able to tell the story
well, and
in the
from
second one.
from what my buddy Aaron was saying, like he's a big Dune nerd, but he was saying the original author of the book said this movie and like what the director had planned was the most accurate retelling of his story. So it's like, yeah, they did that movie back in the 80s or whenever that was, and it was like, yeah, it got the gist of what the story was, but he was saying this is my vision. This is how I planned the story. This is how I imagined these things would look and how it would act. And
I think this is just one of those films where they were like, we're not taking any shortcuts. So obviously somebody read the book and was like, this is absolutely crazy. We need to
just
turn
takes
this
one
into a
person.
movie.
yeah,
But I do like how obviously they're leaving stuff out
Mm.
because
yeah,
they're not small books. They're decent sized books. And you can't put all that in. You just can't. But what they put in was all the stuff you need,
yes, yeah.
which was nice. But
But yeah, no, I mean, I'd say that just about does it for us here.
Oh yeah.
wraps it up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Dune-a-night,
Dune.
whatever the fan base is.
I don't
I'm a Dune Patrol.
think it's like viewer of the movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'm excited for part 2, and maybe we'll catch you for that second part a little down the road.
Yeah, stick around.
When Batista gets punished for lying about killing. the
Yeah,
mom. Oh,
there we go.
I don't know.
Ooh, Batista's gonna get a spanking.
He gonna get beat up.
Ooh, baby. But yeah, until we get to see Batista's bottom get spanked, we'll
That's until the next Dune movie comes in.
all right, I guess that works. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
I can't wait until we get to beat up Batista. It's like, I kind of want to see the rest of the film too.
Yeah, but mostly Batista.